Good morning, children. Today we are going to study the third part of the same chapter, Tribal India, Past, Present and Future. And we'll discuss two topics in this part, present problems of tribes and their solutions. So let us begin with the present problems of tribes. The first problem which is being faced by the tribal people in India is the problem of geographic separation. As I have explained before that these tribals are living in the remotest parts of the country. These parts are the deep valleys, dense forest, hills, mountains, etc. So they are occupying a separated geographical part of the country, and it is very difficult for them to establish relation with others. They are far away from the civilized world, and this kind of physical as well as social isolation has contributed to various other problems. So the first problem is their geographic separation. Second problem is cultural problems. The tribals have their own cultural problems, and their culture is entirely different from the culture of civilized people. These tribals fail to understand the civilized people, their customs and practices, their beliefs and attitudes, and so on. So these tribal people who don't understand the culture of the civilized people, they are always suspicious towards the civilized people. Then the third problem is social problems. The tribals have their own social problems also. They are traditional and custom bound. They have become the victims of superstitious beliefs and the meaningless practices, and they have some harmful habits also, like child marriage, infanticide, homicide, animal sacrifice, and even the exchange of wives. They are in a grip of black magic and some other harmful practices, and they believe in ghosts and spirits. Hence, it is said that the tribals are the tribesmen first, the tribesmen last, and the tribesmen all the time. So they are conquering with their own social problems, and they don't want to come out of that. Then they have some economic problems also. Like the first economic problem is exploitation. Their innocence, illiteracy and helplessness is exploited by the outsiders, like zamindars, landlords, money lenders. They generally cheat them and exploit them. Second economic problem is unprofitable agriculture. The studies of tribes tell that 90% of the tribes are engaged in cultivation, but most of them are landless. And these tribal people are practicing shifting cultivation, means it is not a permanent way of cultivation. They shift from one place to another. So they need to be helped in adopting new methods of cultivation, and this type of cultivation or agriculture is totally unprofitable for them. Next economic problem is problem of land alienation. A good portion of the land in the tribal area has been legally transferred to non-tribals. In fact, the tribals had earlier enjoyed much freedom to use the forest and hunt their animals, but now the tribals are deprived of their rights to the land and forest. Then the next problem, which is economical, is unemployment and also underemployment. A large number of tribal young men and women are either unemployed or underemployed, so they are poor. Then the fifth economic problem is non-availability of banking facilities. Banking facilities in the tribal areas are so inadequate that the tribals have mainly to depend on the money lenders, and they become the prey of these people. Then they have some educational problems. As we know that illiteracy is the major problem of the tribals, and more than 80% of the tribal people are illiterate. This shows that 3/4 of the tribals are illiterate. They have no faith in formal education. They feel no urge to educate their children. Since most of the tribals are poor and education appears to be a luxury for them, they can't afford for education. Then in this educational problem, they are facing two main problems. The first problem is the problem of language. The medium of instruction is another hindrance to the promotion of education among the tribes. Most of the tribal people do not understand the script because they are using their own languages, so they are unable to understand. Hence, the children are obliged to learn things in a language which is foreign to them. So, the first problem comes, that is the problem of language, and then second is the curriculum. The curriculum of education is another main problem. The existing curriculum, as experts rightly have pointed out, is not suited and has little relevance to the tribal people. So these are the two educational problems. The first main problem is illiteracy, and why they remain illiterate? Because of these two problems, the problem of language and the problem of curriculum. Then they are facing the problem of health and sanitation. Due to illiteracy and ignorance, the tribals are unable to appreciate modern concept of health and sanitation. They do not take much care of their own health. Instead, they believe that diseases are caused by hostile spirits and ghosts, and they like to go to the black magicians or the ojhas. They have their own traditional means of diagnosis and care. Generally, we see that these tribals, as they are living in the dense forest or in the river valleys, they suffer from skin diseases. Then other diseases are forest fever, typhoid, then TB, leprosy, malaria, smallpox, chickenpox, etc. So these are the main health problems which are found among the tribes. Then another problem is the problem of separatism. The divide and rule policy adopted by the British did a lot of damage to the tribal community of India. The British had superimposed their own administrative patterns in tribal areas and deprived the tribals of their traditional methods of interacting with people. And these people were described as the criminal tribes and anti-social beings. And still, the outsiders don't have a very good opinion or a positive feeling for the tribes, but they look like a separate part of the country. So these are the major problems of tribes which are being faced by them. So now let us discuss some of the welfare activities which are being taken by the Constitution of India or by the Indian government. The tribal constitute a sizable proportion, that is near about 8.8% of the total population. These tribals are also the citizens of India, and hence promotion of their welfare is equally important. Not only the central government but the state governments have undertaken various steps in this regard. Plus, there are some voluntary organizations who are working among the tribes for their welfare, like Bharatiya Adim Jati Sevak Sangh. Next is Bhil Seva Mandal. Then Kasturba Gandhi National Memorial Trust, the Indian Red Cross Society, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, the Ram Krishna Mission, Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, and the Christian missionaries. So they are working a lot for their welfare. Now, when we are discussing the welfare activities, firstly we shall take the constitutional safeguards. What our Indian Constitution is doing for the welfare of the tribal people. We shall discuss some of the points. The first point, which is in Article 15, is that Constitution provides equal rights and opportunities to all the citizens of India, including the tribes, without any discrimination. Second is, reservation in employment is made for the tribals. There are different articles for these things. Then the seats have been reserved for them in the legislature, in Lok Sabha as well as Vidhan Sabha. Then the tribals can purchase property and enjoy it in any part of the country. Next, a large amount of money can be taken from the Consolidated Fund of India to be spent on tribal welfare activities. So we have discussed 5 constitutional safeguards, though there are many other articles. You can see from the notes. Now, as we have discussed that there are some organizations who are working for their welfare, there are some committees and commissions also. So it is also coming under the constitutional safeguards. So let us see which committees and commissions are working. In addition to the constitutional provisions which is mentioned above, the government appoints some committees and commissions and also a study team from time to time to look into the matter related to tribals. These are Backward Classes Commission, which was headed by Kaka Kalekar in 1953 to 55. Second is the Study Team of Social Welfare and Welfare of Backward Classes 1958 to 59, and it was headed by Renuka Ray. Third is the Scheduled Areas and the Scheduled Tribes Commission 1960-61. under the chairmanship of UN Debar. Fourth is the Second Backward Class Commission 1979 to 80 under the chairmanship of B.P. Mandal. So these are the committees and commissions which are working for the welfare of tribes. Now, government have initiated some economic programs and facilities also. These economic programs are: number 1, development through 5-year plans. And in these 5-year plans, government spent firstly 30 crores, then 80 crores, then 101 crores, and then 172 crores, 257 crores, and this amount is increasing after every year. So these plans are made for 5 years, and under these 5-year plans, there is a subject to tribal welfare also. Then the tribal development projects have also been initiated, right? And as you know that the most of the tribals are engaged in agriculture. So the main objectives of these programs is raising production in agriculture, then raising small industries, horticulture and animal husbandry, in order to raise the standard of the tribals. Then the second program, economic program, is establishment of LAMs. What is meant by LAMs? These are large sized multi-purpose cooperative societies. In short, we call it LAMs. These cooperative societies are established in the tribal areas for giving productive and unproductive loans for the sale of their surplus products and purchase of necessities of life to the tribal people. They are provided with improved seeds, modern agricultural equipments, chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides. So it comes under LAMs. Then the third economic program is 20-point program, focused its attention on the development of scheduled tribes, including assisting the tribal families economically to enable them to cross the poverty line, as we know that most of the tribal people are below poverty line. Then encouragement to craft and home industries. Most of the tribal people are engaged in craft work, and home industries are the main unit of production. Like in West Bengal, the tribals are engaged to develop silk industry. So government has established a training institute. Then if we go to Karnataka, there the tribals are busy in sericulture, means production of silk. Then the tribals of Bihar, MP, Orissa and West Bengal, they are busy in wax industry. In Madhya Pradesh, most of the tribal people are collecting beedi leaves, they are making beedis, and Bihar government is especially encouraging their handicrafts. So time to time some fairs are organized in order to sell their craft items. Then the fifth economic program is agriculture made stable. As we have studied, children, that most of the tribals are engaged in shifting cultivation. It's not a permanent way of cultivation, so it is unprofitable. So now government of means the state governments have given them some land, and by doing this they have made agriculture stable for them. So they can settle at a place, they can produce their crops, they can sell their crops, and they can earn profit. Then promotion of labor interest of tribals engaged in mining industry and the tea plantations. The tribals who are living in Chota Nagpur plateau, they are working in the mines or in mining industry like Santhals, Gonds, Khonds, and the tribes of northeast are working in the tea plantations. So the government is doing a lot for the promotion of these laborers. So all these are the economic programs which have been initiated for the welfare of tribals. Then another measure is educational facilities. We have already discussed that 3/4 of the tribals are illiterate. So measures to provide educational facilities to the scheduled tribes have been taken by the government. Schools are established in some tribal areas, and education up to 10th standard has been made completely free for them. The students belonging to ST, means scheduled tribes, are getting various concessions like tuition, free tuition, stipends, scholarships, free supply of textbooks, stationery and other equipments. Then in these educational facilities, government have opened some ashram schools also. These ashram schools are giving them not only the schooling but also a sort of training for forestry, animal husbandry, poultry, farming, beekeeping, handicrafts, etc. Then government has established pre-examination training centers for scheduled tribes and also scheduled caste. So these training centers are established in some places to help them to appear for UPSC examinations and for IAS and IPS examinations. Then next is the medical facilities. We have discussed that the main problem of tribal is that they are not taking the care of their health. So government is providing them some medical facilities. In some places hospitals are established, and in some places mobile hospital facilities are also provided. Then many preventive and curative measures to solve or to combat the diseases like malaria, leprosy, forest fever, monkey fever, typhoid, smallpox, skin diseases are undertaken. Medical camps are organized time to time in the tribal areas so that the tribals can take the maximum benefit of it. Now, along with these welfare schemes, there is another scheme which was introduced by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in 1957, and we call it the Tribal Panchsheel. Tribal Panchsheel. Panchsheel means 5 principles or 5 attitudes towards tribal people. So under these Panchsheel program, these principles are: number 1, nothing should be imposed on the tribal people. They should feel free. Second, tribal rights in land and forest should be respected. Thirdly, attempt must be made to train and build up a team of their own people to the work of administration and development. And too many outsiders must not be sent to the tribal territory. Next, over administering the tribal areas or overwhelming them with too many schemes must be avoided, otherwise they would get confused. Then last is, the results of the work must be adjudged by the quality of the human character that is evolved, and not by the statistics or the amount of money spent. Means the quality welfare work should be done in the tribal areas, not only the amount of money which is spent should be shown. So we have seen that all these are the programs or initiatives which have been taken for the welfare or upliftment of the tribes. Have a good day.